So we're going to be assembling our test bench. So my test bench at the moment, or my computer test bench, it's on this machine here. So it's old, but it's actually a good machine. But I needed to upgrade because I needed the pieces to test all the computers and stuff like that. So basically, I ordered the B450M Steel Legend from ASRock, and we got a Ryzen 3. What is this one? 3200G with the Vega 8 graphics, and it has the stock cooler as well, and 16 gigabytes of RAM in one slot here, DDR4. So basically what we're going to be doing, we got this case, the CIT Blaze. We're going to be assembling this machine really. So we're going to be using the motherboard from here, the processor, that's new, the memory is new, and then we're going to use the hard drives from that one, the Wi-Fi card, possibly even the graphics card. I'm not entirely sure yet. Yeah, so we'll crack on with that. And yeah, hope you enjoy. Right, so first things first, we're gonna start preparing the case. Now the case already comes with a few pins here, so for the motherboard, so I'm gonna have to check that. But you see that it comes with 6 fans, which is all these cables here. So all I'm doing for now is I'm just gonna get them out of the way. So I'm gonna send them to the back of the case in an organized way, just so the cable management later is easier. So this one is gonna go back that way. Take this from those cables. I know you can't really see much now. I'll try to put it. So all I'm doing is taking these things that is basically getting the cables from the case stuck, just so I can get them all to the same place. Right, I'm gonna have to work on this just so the cables come down. So this one will probably have to take the front. If we take the front, we'll just organize it. So we just need these ones here, that's fine. These two are going there. We're just gonna take these cables out. So we're just gonna take this from here. Okay, so that's speaker, not sure what this is. CIT imported, no, it's just a sticker. Okay, so just gonna move this out of the way for a second. And this is rubbish. So let's check the motherboard first, or actually let me start by taking this off. Let's check this. This one is one of the ones you can just pull. Yes, it is. So there's a hole at the bottom, so all we're gonna do is pull it basically forward while we hold the rest of the case, just so it basically disconnects from there. And that's just the first panel, so it's all here. So that's gonna go there. We've got the power cables there. So all we're gonna do now is rerouting some of these cables. So I'm gonna send these ones. That way they're kind of already going to the place where they're gonna stay, and they're kind of out of the way while we're doing the rest of the work. So that's fine for now. There's these two here. Just thinking if I want to put them all together there. Possibly. Just gonna send them through here as well. Okay. So first thing, I'm gonna put the motherboard. So let me just organize these things here. 3200G, that's the new one, that's the one we want. I'm not going to put the CPU cooler now, although you normally put the CPU cooler first as it is like this, and the memory I can put it, and I'm not going to do it now, and I'll explain later, just because I want to test a customer processor on this board once everything is assembled, just to make sure that if the processor is good or it's not. So yeah, so we're just going to do bit by bit, and yeah, so that's 16 gigabytes of RAM from Team Group, DDR4 2400. So it's really like cheap memory, really. It's good enough for what we're going to be using this machine. So when it's done, let me just see here. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Now, for the slots here. Now, if you're working with your motherboard, see this one is kind of stuck here and there's this all the way around. All I'm doing is grabbing it through here or through this plastic here. Avoid putting your fingers, because you might have your fingers greasy, or you know, these are all very sensitive components. You don't really want to be using your fingers to just touch it all the time. Is not good, and you might actually end up damaging something. So all we're doing is touching this plastic here and touching around where the plastic is, really. Because we're going to be using the stock cooler, we don't need to add any back plate. So all we need to put it is literally just stick it in the machine, really. So we're going to check the holes that we have. So we have 1 there, 2, 3, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and I'm guessing another 3, 1. That is 1. I don't think that is 1. That's 1. 2. I'm not sure this one is, but we'll check it out anyhow. So all those cables there. Right, don't work on top of a box like me, work on top of a bench, okay? I'm working on top of a box because my bench is completely full with things that I don't really want to move, for several reasons. Even though that I have another small there, but I prefer to just be here and I'm close to everything. Everything is at hand, really, and all my tools and everything. Right, so here I can tell right now that this motherboard is gonna be a bit tight here. Reason why is because we have 1, 2, and the 3 is gonna go there, so it's gonna be basically at the limit with this case. So I'm just gonna prepare these fan cables, because once we put the motherboard we won't be able to arrange them where they were at the moment, where they are. Alright, so I'll just set this down from here. How can it go from the top? Here. Could be even better. If I can fit it there. What she said. Okay. That's it. Let's pull this cable all the way. That's it. Perfect. Now go down, down. Okay. And now this one. Hey, you're running away. Hey, you're running away. Hey, you're running away. Right, so this one is gonna go the same way. Just need to find the right way. Oh, there you go. Put it straight away. Okay. Just gonna pull it. And now we're gonna send it down. That's a problem for later. Okay. So I just want to check that what I'm saying is correct, and it is indeed. So they always send these extra screws and screws for the motherboard. I always use them, and I advise you to do the same, really. So we're gonna need these golden bits. We're gonna put the screws. So wherever you have a screw that you're gonna need to put on the motherboard, you're gonna have to put it on the case as well. They normally, see here, they're basically identified. So this is a ATX motherboard. That means that wherever it's the A, I'm gonna need a screw basically. So yeah, so doesn't want to get in. These things are incredibly hard to put there, and you shouldn't really be using a tool, because then you can just destroy the screw and then it won't get in or out. And this one didn't get in properly, so I'm just gonna put it, or try to put it in a different place. It doesn't want to go in. I think that with the technology advancements that we have these days, they could have at least know how to put screws properly. But now we're still using things that we were using 20 years ago to assemble computers. It's not really in, so I'm gonna have to use something, even though that I shouldn't, to actually put it in. Which I didn't really want to do it at all. Alright, so let's see what I can use. I'm going to try to use this to put it. This one is a stubborn one, it doesn't really want to go there. Right. Okay, that should be enough really. Right, so next thing I'm gonna put is the mirror. So whenever you buy a motherboard, it always comes with a mirror, and the mirror is basically this bit, yeah, where you connect the USB ports and whatever. It's basically, you just put it in front of this to protect the board and to be clear what goes where. You need to make sure that you assemble it properly, because it doesn't fit just one way, it fits both. Normally, you have the round ones, which are from the sound, that are normally down, and in this case, it is down. So what we're gonna do from here is just gonna put it from the inside, align it so it's straight, and then all you're gonna do is push, and you should hear some sort of click, or actually feel the click. It clicked on the bottom already. Yeah, looks good. Yep, not yet. I can tell it's not done yet. Here we go. Yeah, now it is done. Okay, so now we're gonna put our motherboard. So again, avoid touching those parts. So what I'm gonna do first is basically cut this, and I'm gonna get some out as well, because we're gonna need a lot of them for our cable management. I know it's a bit messy here, but it's an organized mess, okay? I know exactly what I'm doing. Right. Okay. Let's take all of this cover off. Again, avoid touching the rest of the things. And what you're gonna do now, it's basically fit it and make sure that it fits properly in the slot, and at the same time that you can see those golden support thingies that we just put it underneath where the screw goes. So first we need to align it to where this goes, but it's not gonna go there now because there's a cable from the fan that is in the way. And this is why I did some preparation, but clearly I didn't do enough preparation in terms of these cables, because I should have taken this one as well to avoid these right now. So what I'm gonna do is, there's a hole here, so I'm basically just using this hole to pass the cable through. But that means that this cable is gonna be hidden behind the motherboard. So I'm creating some sort of loop here. But actually I'm just gonna pull it up completely, and then once we put the motherboard, we'll just reroute it as we want it. So let's go again. Here we go. Right, that seems right. That seems wrong. See this? This is what you don't want from a motherboard, to be basically putting pressure, doing something, and the support is not really there. So what are we missing here? The first three, they're there. You can see the golden underneath. There should be three. This one is fine. This one there isn't. This one there isn't. This one there isn't. So it's basically the bottom three. These two are done as well. So yeah, the bottom three that we need. So let's check it out. Yeah. So the mistake we did here is that we put it here as if it was down. In this case, it's not down. It's basically this one. One, and then down. So this one, two, and then these three. Like I said, it wasn't really a hole. There's a hole on the board, but it's not really a hole. To put these, I mean. So let's take these ones out. So all I'm doing is trying to unscrew just a little bit, just so I can actually use my hands to do it, because we don't really want to damage these pins. Especially, for example, this case only brought extra 2 and I needed 3. But in this case, I actually don't need 3, I only need 2 now. So it should be okay. And this one actually went proper inside, so that's good. We need to tie it more. Let's see if this one comes out. That's it. It's going very slowly, and it stopped. Who said that assembling a computer was easy? It is, and it is fun. But there are certain elements, like this one, that are neither, well, they're easy really, they're just not that fun really. But yeah, maybe some people find this fun. I find fun putting the motherboard, putting the graphics card, you know, making it all look nice. I do find that fun, dealing with these tiny screws that are just rubbish regardless. That's not fun at all. Okay, let's go again. This tire. There we go. It's there now. It's there, and this one it's not because it's supposed to. It feels like there's something here that is not quite right yet. Okay, now it is right. So it's perfectly aligned. See that, for example, if you look in this one, you can see it, but it's not quite aligned. As soon as you apply a little bit of pressure, it goes there. So that's going to be my first screw that I'm going to put. It's going to be that one, just to hold it in place while I put all the other ones. So ideally, you want to do this with a screwdriver that is long, and that's the hold on, let me think what I'm doing. And that it has a good magnetic, so it just holds the screw. So that way you only have to worry about aligning the board while you put the screw there, and that's it. As soon as you put like the first two, it's all done, then it's easy enough. So that's one. I'm gonna put the other one. I'll probably just put this one, just so there's a similar pressure on both ends, and the motherboard is properly aligned. Here we go. Okay. Now we just have to put all the 9 screws really. Don't apply too much pressure. As soon as it starts tying up, just tighten it up a little bit, and that's it. Don't keep applying pressure and putting force. There's no need for that because there's 9 screws to keep it in place. It's not gonna run anywhere. If it's the first few times that you're assembling a computer, what I would advise is put all your screws in like a tray, separate them, check how many do you have for what, because there's different screws for different jobs, okay? So for example, you have screws like these that are normally for the power supply, while you have these ones that are normally for either SSDs or to put on the motherboard, for example. So these are the ones that we're putting in the motherboard at the moment. Right, let's see what's missing. So we should have 8 screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the one missing, one there. And here we go. No, these are going to straight. Okay. Motherboard in, memory in. So the next thing I'm gonna do, it's the power supply. Most people tend to put it as last, and I do it as well. But the reason why I'm gonna do it now is because I have this computer that I need to finish very quickly for a customer, and all I need to do really is turn on this computer and test the processor inside. So we're gonna basically just put the power supply, we'll show you that, and do the main connections, pause the video. I'm gonna sort these in, and then we're gonna back to the video, and we're gonna basically sort everything else, and it will take some time because we need to do some cable management and put everything properly as we want it to be, because we want the computer to be stable. We don't want to be opening the tower every time or every couple of days because you forgot to do something, or because a USB is not working, or whatever it is, or it doesn't look nice, or there's a cable on the way. So we're gonna basically assemble the whole machine as if I didn't want to touch it for a few years, basically. Okay, right. So we're going to put the power supply unit. The power supply unit we're going to be using is the one that is on that computer at the moment. So I'm going to put this one out on the side and we're going to disassemble that power supply. I'm just going to move out of the way, and this one we're going to move it out of the way as well. And my bench. Disconnect it first. So, coming to this one, this is like a typical computer really, it's just a little bit old. So, we have an SSD that is here, we have 2 hard drives. For this build, I'll probably just use one SSD and 1 hard drive. We're gonna use this power supply, this Wi-Fi card, and possibly the memories. I'm not sure yet if that's DDR4, I doubt it is, it's probably DDR3. So probably leave it aside. This case, the CIT, what's the name? CIT Blaze doesn't support any CD or DVD units in the front, so we're not going to be using the DVD drive either. And yeah, so we're just going to disconnect the power supply now. So take the main things, 4-pin. In this case, I rerouted the 4-pin under the graphics card. So I'm going to have to take the graphics card regardless, so we're just going to go ahead and take it now. Alright, typical problem with Wi-Fi cards, the antennas don't go through. So you take the antennas out. And that's the Wi-Fi card done. We're just going to go ahead and disconnect everything really. Okay. Disconnect these SATAs. This. Okay, everything is disconnected from the motherboard. Now I'm pretty sure, yeah, see that I tied up some cables, so to take the PSU I'm gonna have to take off these ties, the cable ties. So let me see, I can disconnect these one from here. And ooh, there's a lot of cable ties. Here, this is just a extension. There's this one. Make sure that if you're using a nail clipper like I do for this job, you're not picking any cable, because this is very sharp, and if you damage a power supply cable, you might not just hurt yourself, but you're definitely ruining the power supply unit. So just be very careful. Just double check what you're doing every time. Keep the eyes on the goal. Okay, there was a black tiny cable next to it, so I just had to be extra sure of what I was doing. Okay, still not done. That's a lot of cable ties. Okay, you can disconnect this from the disk, this, and from the DVD drive. And let's check that all the cables are coming out. This one is not, that's from the fan. Yeah, that's all disconnected, so we're just gonna go ahead and take the 4 screws from the back.
I'm not entirely sure this power supply is going to be enough to power up all those 6 fans, because I don't see many connections really. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to need 2 for the hard drive, so there's 3. So if I can connect those fans to each other, possibly. If not, I'll have to use a different power supply. But we'll check it out. Alright. So, we got the power supply, got the Wi-Fi. We might as well just go ahead and take the hard drives out and the SSD, because they're not really doing anything here. Let's just get all of these cables out, because they're not really doing anything here. Okay. Right. Because here we don't need a magnet, we can just use an electrical one, which is so much faster. This one is one of the wow stick models, the biggest one, because the other one is super tiny. It's not really any good to work on desktops really. It's more focused for laptops. I'm gonna put these screws down, because as soon as I take this one, the SSD is gonna fall. Yeah, here we go. SSD is out, and let's take these drives out. They're secure from the other side, of course they are. So I'm just gonna take this one, this one. Okay. Go ahead and take the screws from the other side. Okay. This done, let's just pull them out. So they're both 1 terabyte drives. I'll probably not even use these ones. I have one with 2 terabytes, so probably just use that one. Right, so all we needed from this computer is now out of here. Let's just check the memory just in case. Like I said, it's DDR3, so it's completely useless to us on this new build. So we're just gonna move this one to the side, find some space so we can assemble this computer properly. So we'll just move some things around. Rubbish, put it there. Maybe we gotta keep it for a little bit. That's rubbish for now. This rubbish. Okay, so I'm just gonna put the computer on top of this. The thing is basically just to rotate the computer. It just makes it so much easier. But I have to get these screws a little bit out of the way. These things out of the way as well. Okay, so we're gonna start with the power supply unit, isn't it? So I don't know why I picked it up. I could have just rotated this really. Right, so the power supply unit. get a little bit of paper. It's just a bit dusty, so I just want to take some of the dust from this power supply. Right, so in this case we have the space down, so we're just gonna fit it here, here, and then we're gonna have to reroute the cables that we check. First I need to see if these cables are gonna reach where I want them to reach. So these ones are gonna have to go there somewhere. There's no space here to reroute it, so I have to pass it from the front. It's not gonna go to this side, that's for sure. And I'm not even sure if it's gonna reach if I bring it from this side. It is. Okay. I'm not really pulling this cable from the front, but it looks like we don't really have an option in this case. So we'll leave this on the side for now. Right, and we got the main one that we want to come from. It's not gonna go from the top. Let's see if it reaches from this side. Assuming this is in place. It's very tight, but it fits. Right, so I'll show you in a minute what I'm doing. At the moment I'm just trying to put this cable because it's not really sticking there. Oh, here you go, as it should. This one, the 4-pin connector, got an 8-pin connector. In this case, even with just the 4, it will work, so we don't have to worry too much about it. Right, this without light is a bit tight. Here we go. Right, so that's our main. Actually, I will lay down this so you can see what I'm doing. Right, so take this from here. Right, so what I'm doing now, or what I connected, was just a 4-pin there. That's the main cable, and this one. That's our main cables from the power supply unit. Those two are done for now. So what I'm gonna do, because I'm putting the computer like this, as you can see the power supply doesn't really stand like this, so I'm just gonna put the screws from the power supply just so it's safe, and I'm not giving you bad ideas, because you shouldn't really put the power supply like this when it's not stuck, because you might turn the computer to do something else, or because you forgot something else and you're gonna end up dropping your power supply or something like that. So ignore this little bit, okay? Alright, so I'm gonna have to grab it. There we go. And this is why you don't assemble a power supply like this, because it's just 3 times harder. That's one. That's 2. That's 3. And the last one. And that's 4. Okay. So like I said, got the power supply connected, everything is basically working. The processor and the motherboard have graphics on board, so that means that if we turn it on now, it's gonna work. Of course we should use a CPU cooler. The reason why I'm not gonna do it now is because I need to just make sure that this one is giving me image just to test for a fault computer.
which I'm gonna do now. So we're gonna pause the video and we're gonna record the second part in a bit, and we'll put the two parts together, so you'll see everything straight. You're not gonna see that part, but you can check what we did in a different video on the channel. Right, so we'll be back in just a second. Right, so we're back. So I tested this in the customer computer. It didn't work. The customer, both the board and the processor were faulty. So I just put our new processor here. So it's pretty simple operation really. So you basically just open this pin here, pull it to the side a little bit. As you pull it up, then in some cases it actually clicks like this. When you can see, it just clicked now, so it's ready to take off. So it's the same thing when you're putting it on. You need to open it. There's a mark on the processor there, and there's a mark on the board there as well. It's almost like an arrow. And on these Reason models, I'm not gonna say 100%, but all of the Reasons that I've seen, they're always lined up the same way, which is with the Reason basically facing this direction. So it's all in. I'm gonna close it off. I've managed to find a way to kind of reroute this cable just through here, just so it's a little bit more tied up. Memories, so the memories, depending on what you're using, how many memories. So in this case I checked the motherboard manual. It comes with this sheet. It tells you basically how it should be and whatever. So in this case I figured out that it shouldn't really be on the first one, it should be on the second. So I'm just going to move this one to the second slot. Didn't really click there. Okay, now it is this one. Okay, so let's go back to it. So we're gonna put some thermal paste, and then we're gonna put the stock cooler. So stock cooler, it's here. It came with the processor. Right, so that's the stock cooler. Right, it already has some thermal paste. I'm just gonna apply just a tiny bit. We need to see how we're gonna put this cable. So in this case, I got the CPU fan just there, the first one on the top, 4 pins, and that's 4 pins. So we want it to be on top there. So what I'm probably gonna do is kind of do almost like a little loop here, like this. It looks just a little bit better, but I'll leave that after I actually place it where it should go. Right, in this case, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to take these 4 screws. I'm just not sure if I'm gonna have to take these as well. So best thing to play safe is to actually check it. So there should be some sort of manual, but I've been putting the things all over the place, so I'm not even sure where it is at the moment, which is not great. Let's have a look. I just tidied it up a little bit just so I can do all this work in the bench, and this is actually laying down so you can see what I'm doing. Let me just look for the manual. Should be one of these ones. Yeah, so on this one it just says to basically take the screws, take that, and just place it on the top. Let's see. There's a different option to put it in a different way, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna use the straightforward options. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Okay, so what we're gonna do is basically it comes with this support, which is for a different type of CPU cooler. So in this case we can just take it off. So it's pretty simple. We just take the 4 screws off and the 2 pieces of plastic
the black one, it would just come off straight away. Okay, now keep in mind that because I'm doing this, or because I'm taking these screws, the back plate, so behind the motherboard there's a back plate where that basically stays in place so the screws fit. Now, as you can probably see it, you probably can't see it because it's too dark and it's black as well. But if I move the computer or the tower, the back plate is just basically, I'm just gonna put it like this so you can actually see it properly. So this is the back plate. It just came off because I took those screws out, okay? So all we're gonna do is putting this in place like this, okay? And that didn't work. So I'm just gonna ask the cameraman to put a finger here. That's it. And all we're gonna do is basically, there's 4 screws, just pretty straightforward, just stick it in and that's it. So let's just see. Okay, so if you hold that in place while I put this, as soon as we put like 2 screws, it should be secure. What am I doing? What about the thermal paste? Okay, so I'm gonna lay this down just so I can work on the things properly. There's so many cables in this thing, it's unbelievable. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's aligned. That's all I need. So I'm just gonna put the thermal paste very quickly. Because it already has a little bit of thermal paste there, I'm just gonna place just a tiny bit there in the middle. That's it, we don't need more. If you put too much, it's gonna overheat, so you don't want to put too much, but you don't want to put too less either. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So once again, just gonna put this, want it to be stable and try to move it as less as possible. Okay, it entered on one side. Try to fit it in across and don't tie it up completely on any of the sides, because here we go, yeah, you want it to basically sit on the processor flat and not down like this, otherwise you're going to push all the thermal paste to one of the sides. Okay, those 3 are secure, so this one we're just gonna tie it up completely, even though that I don't think it's reaching. Yes, it is. Or maybe it's not. I'm gonna have to check, but I'm gonna tie them up first everywhere. That's done on this side. That's done. Oh, that's not very good. It didn't tie up on that side. Probably because it can't really reach the back plate. Okay, now it is. It's all done on this side. All done on here. And all done. Again, don't apply too much pressure, just enough to be secure and to not move at all. So we're just gonna apply like a little loop here. And we're gonna connect it. Let's get this light in. Here we go. Okay, that's done. Right, so next thing I'm gonna do, we could put 2 M2 cards here. I don't have any M2 cards, we only have the hard drives. So I'm just gonna put now the graphics card, not the graphics card, the Wi-Fi card. And I think that's it. yeah, that's just a Wi-Fi card. It's the only thing that we're putting here. So I'm just gonna put it up here really, and then we're gonna start sorting out this cable mess and put the hard drives. Probably the hard drives will be the last thing to put, just because we need to sort all of these cables that are an absolute mess, and it's a nightmare to sort really. It's the worst job really when you're sorting a computer, is do all these cables. Right, so I'm gonna try to hide this cable. Let me see if I can pass it through here. No, it's too tight. Maybe I can pass it from the back. Okay, check it in a minute. Let's do the Wi-Fi card. So in this case, this has an adapter here, just keeping the things in place. So all we're gonna do, take the screw out, and take this screw out, and the adapter will come out. Here we go. Right. So in this case, this one is removable, but all of the other ones are metal, or they're sticking to it. So it means you need to break it if you want to actually put it. So all you do, push it from the outside inside, try to fold it, and then don't play too much about it. You don't want it to touch the motherboard. So you just keep basically doing this until the metal becomes very fragile and it just breaks off the place. In this case, this one for the Wi-Fi, it was enough. So we're just gonna put our Wi-Fi card here. So we'll just align it and align it with the slot as well. It's in the right place. So we'll just slot it in. And here we go. Yeah, that's in place. And then we're gonna put the screw after there to keep it secure and in that place. So again, because we're not adding any other adapters, we can just close this off. So we're just gonna put this adapter back. So it just fits there perfectly, which normally doesn't in the cases. It's in very expensive cases and they don't really do that. It looks awful. Okay. And that's secure, and now we're gonna put the screw there as well on the where the board is for the Wi-Fi, to make sure it doesn't move when we're kind of putting the antennas or doing any other work. Okay. That's secure enough. You can put these ones in because they're not really bothering anyone. So you can just put them like this and always use the antennas. If you don't use the antennas, it's not going to pick up the networks as easily, or it's going to be very weak. So always put the antennas. Right, so our machine is basically all done really, so we just need to rearrange the cables and then connect the cables from the case itself into the motherboard and connect all the fans. So let's get into the cables. I got this thing here that we can just put it under the computer to rotate it, which makes it a little bit easier. So let's see what we have here. I'm gonna use a lot of cable ties. Don't be afraid of using cable ties or plenty of cable ties, because it's the best thing to kind of keep it nice and clean and, you know, keep it all good. Right. One thing I've noticed is that once we put this case, we don't really have much space except on this side here to reroute the cable. So for example, this cable here, if I put another cable crossing on top, it's not gonna close properly. So it's important that we try to reroute the cables through here or hide the rest there, but we'll see what we can do
from here. So I'm gonna take this off for now. Just gonna cut this thing off. That's it. Okay. I'll clean up after. Alright, so the first cable tie that I'm gonna do is gonna be with all of these cables that come from the inside of the board. And I'm just gonna put it like here on the top, just to kind of, just so it's a little bit clear of what is what and what comes from what. I connected this one, but I'm gonna disconnect it because we'll reroute it properly. So we'll just put the cable tie here. Right, I never take this off. I always leave it until, that's like almost the last thing that I do really. Just because it's easier to see where I have it if I need to move any cable or anything. Right, the second thing that I'm gonna do is put another cable tie here, where all of these 3 fans cable, it's gonna go. Now I'm just not sure if this is gonna go, if when I put this is gonna close, so let me just check. If I put this, so let me see. No, it's not gonna close if I put it like this, so I'm gonna have to reroute it from the inside. Right, so to reroute it from the inside, I can do from here. So we want to be as less visible as possible. I'm gonna pass it through here. I'm gonna pick it up on this side. That's the top one, and then we want this one. Okay. This is almost like the patience game, you know? So many little cables and so many little things that you have to do, that now that you assemble the computer, you just want to turn it on and go and play that game that you couldn't play with the other rig, or you're just curious to see this computer working and if it's gonna be fast and whatever you want to do with the computer, so you're super excited. But these things do make a difference in terms of the temperature, in terms of how it looks, in terms of a lot of things really, so it's very important that you actually do it. I just dropped all my cable ties, but oh well. So I'm gonna need these things, but for now, so let's move these ones out of the way there. That's it. Okay, so these 3 are now here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the cable tie here, and I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna put it here. Get it. She's a. Right. Okay. But we're not leaving any space there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is connect all of these cables. So we're gonna connect these 2 together, and then I'm gonna connect this one here. Some of the fans, these won't really work. Okay, I'm not sure if these. We could have just connected this to the motherboard, but then it's just gonna be data, and I don't really want to do it. And I don't really have any need to actually control these fans either. So all I'm gonna do is, as long as this is connected now to this one,
that's it, it's gonna work. I'm gonna take this cable, this zip tie from here, because I'm gonna need these things. I don't know how to do it. Cut anything. Should be okay actually. Okay, actually no, just gonna take these off as well, because I'll probably gonna need it. Very tight. Okay, so this, all we're gonna do with this one is connect it here. It's not entering properly. Right, so these things, you can't force it. These ones you can't really force it. You need to make sure that it's actually entering the place where it should. Otherwise, you might just break a pin, and then that's an entrance that is gone. Right, I'm gonna just tidy up here a little bit, just so I can put another cable tie here, keeping all of this together. Okay, and I just drop my cable ties, which doesn't really help. But there's one here. Connected properly, not like it is. Okay, so all I'm gonna do with this one for now is hide it here somehow. So for example, now I know that I need to pull it a little bit, so this one can just fit here. That's good. And then one of these ones I'm gonna use for the hard drive that is gonna go here. But these were supposed to have some sort of adapters, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just stick it here, because it shouldn't really need anything. This is not really great. No, but what I'm gonna do here, because I don't really want to be getting inside and taking everything apart just to put two screws there, I'm gonna use the screws that we normally use for the side of the case, just to keep it in place. So something like this should do the job. I can probably just keep it through here, so I can see it. Which I can't. Okay. Wait, I might have to disconnect this cable from the motherboard just to connect this. Just so my fingers can actually fit there. I'm just gonna put this in my head so I can use both hands. Right. Much better. Just need to find a tool now. How come they sent these without any supports to keep these in place? That's strange. It's very strange. Okay, I got it there. Yeah. So this little trick actually worked. So this is secure now. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect the motherboard cable again. Yeah, that's done. Okay. So we're gonna use this one that we connected the fans. I'm gonna connect it there as well, so we can hide it here. That's it. And now this little bad boy is gonna go here. Boom, that's connected. Okay, this one's not gonna go anywhere, so we can move it there now. So we have another one for the SSD. So I'm not too worried about this one, or maybe I could actually, because I can put the SSD here. No, I'll probably put it here. Okay. So that means that if I put it through here, let's just put it there, and then I'll just connect it here, and should be okay. But it's gonna be visible, which I don't want, so we're just gonna cut this off. Okay, that's out of the way. So I'm gonna put should I put the SSD? No, I'm not gonna put the SSD yet. It's looking pretty good though. It's like very, very neat. I'm just not loving this cable here. So just thinking, where can I just kind of get it? Yeah, I'll just probably just put it here then, because it's just moving a lot, and I don't really like it. All the cases have like these lots of holes everywhere that you can use. Like for example, these it's supposed for you to use cable ties to use in those bits to get your cables straight and routed properly. So this one I want it to go there. Okay, and that's much better. So that way it's just completely out of the way, really. And this one we'll just sort it when we put the SSD. So let's go to the cables from the actual computer. There's three here from, oh, not three, there's two here from the two fans on the top, and then there's the cables that we're going to be connecting from the computer. So let me just need to split them. So that's from the fan, and that's from the other fan. So for example, these ones will probably just reroute it like through here, go down there and connect with those ones, and that's it. We'll just leave it there, nice and easy. You can actually disconnect them, just put them together, just to kind of. So, should I braid them? Right. I'm just gonna braid them like they're a little girl. Just so they're kind of together. However, just keep in mind that if you're passing it, for example, through here, because you're braiding them, they get thicker, and because they get thicker, it might not just close properly. But because I'm going to be using here, it should be more than fine, really. Okay, so this is done. So again, another cable tie. Like this, and then you can just put it, go on this side, but it's easier, so we're just gonna put it on this side here. So here, like this. Okay, we're just gonna pass it through here. But actually I'm not gonna close these just yet, just because I can possibly just reroute more cables that I'm gonna connect. So I'm gonna connect the ones from the computer first, because then I'll have to reroute them and see where I want them to go. Move the screws around. Okay. So I'm gonna get the easiest part out of the way, and the easiest part is normally the USBs and the big cables, really. So the small cables I normally leave for last, because it's the thing you have to kind of look into the motherboard, or sometimes even the manual. So these ones on the side. So USB. So when you're looking for the USB, this is USB 2.0 and this is USB 3.0. They're very different, and the same thing here. So this is where the USB 3.0 is gonna go, either here or nothing, or just that. That's the only one that we have on this motherboard. The USB, we probably have it here. Yeah, so these two are USB, and that's audio. So that's what we want for now. So the USBs are gonna go here. So what I can possibly do is send it across and then just bring it and connect it here, and the cable is basically not visible other than this bit here. So let's go. So HD audio is gonna be to the same place, and USB as well. So these two, we're just gonna pass them, so they come from here like this, and we're just gonna connect them. So the audio one, you see that there's one that is blank. You need to check your motherboard as well, because there will be one blank, and you don't want to kind of force it if it doesn't go in, because there's a blank there and you don't have the blank on yours. Right, so USB, the same thing. You have blank on one of the corners, slightly different but exactly the same principle. So we're just gonna go and connect it here. Again, it's just kind of adjust it, don't just force it, you need to kind of adjust it while you're putting the force. Right, so this part is good enough. Let's connect the USB 3.0 is here. There's a hole next to it straight away, so that's exactly where it's gonna come from. So it's gonna come from from here. So we're gonna connect it just here. Boom. Okay. So let's see what are we doing now. We put these three cables like this together, so they look a little bit neater. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this thing here. We're just gonna take this off, put it initially, but we don't really need it anymore.
This back there, that's it. Let's turn it around. Right, it's starting to look a little bit less messy now, but there's still a few things to do. So let's just go ahead, put these three cables together. Just be careful to make sure that you're not kind of pulling it through there. So these ones, we can possibly just keep them coming like this. What is this small one doing here? So through here, 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 and there. So, or even this one actually. Okay, we'll see. Anyway, we can always put the excess here, because this is not going to be visible, this part anyhow. That's stuck for now, so we're just going to leave it for now. Let's focus on the other connections. So let's go into the small ones, and then we have this fan one to connect there. So the small ones are all going to go in the corner, so in this corner here on the left. So I'll probably reroute them. Yeah, I'm just going to reroute them to here. That's probably the best way. And just pull them all. Leave plenty of space just so you can work comfortably. Okay, so reset. The best thing to do this part is either see the manual, or actually there's a drawing underneath or above or even next to it that normally tells you where it should what you should connect what. Okay, that's related to basically this panel, the whole panel. So the power is on the top there, and then we have the HD LED on the bottom. So the HD LED, it's here. Right, so in this case it basically, it says that the plus is on the right, and when you turn it around, there's also an arrow there. I noticed the arrow on the other ones as well. And on this case, what we're gonna do is turn them around, because it's saying as well that the plus should be facing the left in this case. It's not like you're gonna damage it anyhow, but you know, first it looks better because it's black instead of saying power or something like that. So it will look good, or it will look better if you actually do the things properly. So let's do the things properly. Right, so this one is done, so we don't need all this cable, so let's send all this cable back. Right, and we forgot about this little friend here. Right, what we're gonna do with these little friends? Let's see if I can pass it through this corner here. No, I can't, because the motherboard is covering every single hole. So what I'm gonna do to it is I either connect it here very close. Okay, yeah, I can connect it there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect it there, or hide it first, and then I'm gonna connect it there. So let's see if my fingers are small enough to do this. So I'm gonna start by putting this first there. Oh no, this is different one. It's not the same. Just complicating it for me, friend. Okay, I'm gonna have to send it. Gonna have to send it to the back somehow. Let's see if I can kind of pass it. If I put it like completely right there. Come on. It started passing, but now it's getting stuck. Oh, it passed. That's it. Right. And it actually went there, so we can just reroute all the way around, because the cable is large anyway, or it's very long. So we just have to pass it through here. Right. This type of things is almost like the patience game, you know. But it's important that you actually be patient, because otherwise you're gonna end up breaking stuff, or the result is not gonna look as you want it to look. So just be patient. Okay, that's fine. I'm not loving this look here, not at all. But I don't think there's much we can do here at the moment. So I'm gonna leave it for now. I'll go back to it later. Right, so let's finish this off then. So this one, we're gonna have to send it back probably with the braid that we did, because it's all the same. So we're gonna move it all together there. What else do we have here? The USB 3.0 is here. I'm just gonna get it stuck somewhere. It's probably gonna be here actually. Yes, it is, because it fits perfectly there. Okay, so just gonna put this one through here, and then go through the other side, and just put it back there. That's it. And then get these two cables stuck there. Wait. Perfect. Okay. Right, now we have all of this cable that is the remaining from that one. So what I'm gonna do is put it all. Okay, this one is gonna have to move. I'm crossing cables here, but I don't want to disconnect it now because I'm too lazy for that. So what I'm gonna do is probably I'm gonna put it here. It's gonna be visible there. Just gonna pull it down then. Pull it down, 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 or here. Yeah, I'm gonna put it here. So I'm
just gonna rearrange it like this, and then with this cable tie that I put here, I'm just gonna somehow close it. This light in my head is not anything. It's just very useful when you, especially when you're working with black computers where you can't really see much. It's just very, very useful. It's actually a present from a customer when I was working on this computer. So all of these little cables here, it's good, they're not gonna go anywhere anyhow. It's just stuck there. So we still got this one to get it stuck. It's gonna be stuck here. So I can put it stuck here. Still some. No, I think I'm gonna leave this USB actually. I'll just put one here and that's it. Just because there's plenty of space here, so there's no need to actually be playing too much with it, because there's plenty of space once this closes. So I'm just gonna put this one here, and I need to turn the cable tie around. Turn around. There you go. As you can tell, I'm not the best one at not the best one. I'm not good at all at this cable management, but I do the little bits that I can, and that's good enough for me. As long as I do the best that I can, and the result is good enough, that's what it matters. So again, another 2, 3. So we have 3 fans there, and then we have another 3. Okay, something here doesn't make sense. So these are from the 2, because there's 3, yeah, 1 on the back and 2 on the top. So we're gonna do the same setup here, really. So I'm gonna connect all of these 3 together. Okay, and we're gonna probably still hide it there. Let me see what I have here. So I need this one. I'm gonna have to put the SSD here somehow. Where can I put it on the other side? It'll probably look nicer on the other side, actually. Yeah, I'll put it on the other side. So I'll just put the SSD here. Yeah, it's just gonna go there, really. Right, so that means that we can just sort this out then. Okay, I'm happy again. Right, so let's put this, connect this one here, and then I'm gonna leave it loose for the minute just so I connect the SSD, and I need the 2 SATA cables. One, 2. Okay, so let me put the SSD in place first. Let's grab a few screws. Okay, so we're gonna want it to be here. Let me just check. Where's the hole? Put it sideways. Probably just put it sideways like this. If I can. Go there. I'm not overly confident about this, so I think I'm going to put it like this. Yep, that's the one. Alright, so I'm just going to prepare this. And get these in place.
That's one screw done. Just gonna put 2, there's no point putting 4 really. Such a tiny thing and so light that 2 are more than enough. Okay. So this one is done. Can actually connect it all from here, so let's just connect these ones first because we have the things there. No, it went straight to the place, so that's good. Alright, so we need to sort out here these little mess. I'm getting to the point now that the cable ties are just annoying, so I'm just going to start cutting them short. Just annoying and make sure you don't cut any small cable while you're doing this. Always double check what are you cutting before you actually cut it. There's another one here. And looks like that's it. Okay. Alright, so the power is all connected to the hard drives. We just need to connect the Stator cables. So I'm gonna connect it from the front first. So Stator 3, 3, 4. Where's the one? Let's see what is the orientation of the. I'm guessing it's gonna be like this anyhow. So this Stator cable, I'm just gonna send here. I'm gonna connect it here. Okay, that's good. And then the next one, I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna pass it through here first. If this actually, right, this one close. So I'm gonna connect this one a bit underneath there, and then this one just on top of that one. I need to make sure that this cable is actually connected. Same as this one. Yeah, okay. That's good. Our computer is basically assembled. We just have to sort out a little bit this mess, so you can just close it off and then we'll just turn it on. Okay, so where did the Stator cables go? What the hell? I see it. Alright, so this one we're just gonna go straight down. I'm gonna hide it there, just underneath the hard drive. That's it, and it's gonna connect just there. Here we go. Okay, and then this one is gonna have to connect here like this. So we're gonna go ahead, pass it here, and then bring it down. And then we're gonna use both sides to just put it straight into the place where it should, and then we can just adjust it. Okay, that's connected. I actually like how it looks from here, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I'm just gonna have to hide this part here. I will just put a zip tie here, I think. See if we can fit this through here. Just hide it there somewhere. Yeah, that's working. Our little braid here didn't really quite work how I wanted it to work. Put this zip tie here. Yeah. Right. So like this, I'm just gonna put this little braid coming from here. And there was another cable with a braid. It's this one. I'm just going to pull all of this down and close it off. Okay. Right, so that's all connected, and then you can just stick it there. Yeah. Okay, this one you're going here, and this Stator cable, I'm just gonna attach it there. So I'm just gonna put it through here and bring it back. Bring it back like this. Just remember, you can use zip tie inside zip tie. That's what I'm gonna do now. So put this zip tie for this Stator cable. I'm gonna put another zip tie through that one, attaching as many cables as I can from here. Just make sure that they all stay here. Where is the zip tie? Where is it? Okay. See, they're coming out now because I'm trying to move my fingers, but once I close this zip tie, it's all gonna be tight and going inside, hopefully. That's it. So just push it there, push it, 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 push it. Okay, just stick there. So as you can tell, the cable management is not my forte, but it does the job that we wanted, and that's what it matters to me. Okay, so let's see if this closes now. This cable there. Okay. This is the side one. Ooh, perfect. Just getting stuck somewhere. Might have been near to it, so let's just do this first. It might be getting stuck somewhere. No. No, I think they're not touching the supports, and it is flowing properly. Let's see if there's something here. Okay, maybe it's closed and maybe it's just me actually. No, it is closed. It is closed. Right, so we're just gonna put where did I put the screws from the back? I'm just gonna put the ones. Yeah, with the cube. Okay. Here. Who is it? Wait. No, we don't need this light anymore, I believe. Okay, so let's put it up, and let's put the front. pressure when you're putting this, because this is just like plastic. Most cases are. It's just like a cheap plastic. So okay, so this is the result being turned off. I'm quite pleased with it, except this yellow cable. I don't like it at all. But we had no other choice because the cable was very short coming from the power supply, and it wouldn't reach regardless. So we actually had to just pass it this way. But still pretty good though. I'm quite pleased with it. In this case, you can see basically a little bit of the cables there and here. I don't like these, but there was no other way to reroute these fans. Yeah, it's a tricky one. They could have put some sort of metal covering this part so you wouldn't really be seeing all these cables, and it would be much neater. But you know, we work with what we get, or we get with what we work. What? Huh? It is what it is basically. So let's just put the side lid. So I believe this is gonna go like this. Yeah, so we're just gonna peel this off. Preferably without breaking it. And yeah, it just slides into this. And I'm gonna start putting the screws as I peel this, because the plastic it's underneath the screws. Oh, come on, don't make me touch the glass. Why are you not getting in? Hello? Hello? Just get in. Really? We built the whole computer and it's this screw that is kind of not wanting to get in? Really? What's the problem with this? Hey friend, just work friend. Friend? Hey friend? Friend? What the hell? Am I putting this the wrong way around or something? I don't think I am. No, I'm not. So what's your problem then? Right, so different one. Right, this is so odd. Like, really? They couldn't make 4 proper screws? They just had to mess it up somehow? What the hell? What the hell? I'm putting the right screws, right? Yes, I am. Right, I'm just gonna put a different screw then. You better work. Like, this is a cheap case, but still, 55 pounds, it's not really that cheap. Cheap case for me, it's like a 20-30 pound case. This is a 50 or 55 pound case. It's not really that cheap. At least the screws could get in straight. You must be joking. What the hell? Of course it wasn't working. I was putting the wrong screws. Yay! And then there was me here blaming the case and ranting. Oh, do not move. And here it is, guys. This is our final result. I'm quite pleased with it, I must say. Let's take this plastic as well. Without imaging. Right, let's turn it on so we can see it with all the fans working. It will look way cooler than this. Well, that already looks cool like this. And hopefully it's gonna work as well. Right. First test, we turn on the power button. And we got some lights. And all the fans are working. Got some lights. It's like there's a color, but there's not too much color. I quite like it. Like it's an actual pretty case. It looks pretty. Right. Do we have any display? Do you have any image? Yes, we do have image. So let's just go into the BIOS. So here it is, B450M, the Steel Legend, with an AMD Ryzen 3 3200G with the Radeon Vega Graphics 8. We got 16 gigabytes at 2666. So yeah, this should actually be a good machine. Yeah, it looks good. I'm quite pleased with it. Let's see the temperature. Right, not great though. Temperatures are not great. So we're at 44 degrees on the CPU, which I'm not very pleased. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this, and hopefully it's not gonna go too much up. Let me just check that this fan, yeah, it's working fine. Yeah, I quite like it. It's looking good. Looking on the inside, on the Steel Legend, we got like a type of aura effect. I think they have a proper name for this brand, for the ASRock. Don't remember the name now. Got some lights coming down around that block there. And then we have the case fans that are just blue, and that's just it. And actually creates a very nice kind of. And let me just try it with the lights off, just so you guys kind of have an idea how it looks without lights. Yeah, it looks nice. I like it. So yeah guys, please leave a like to the video, click subscribe to follow my content and to see our next videos. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. And yeah, thank you.